Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. It's me, Diamond Racing, and today it's going to be the Mexico GP review. It was a quite interesting weekend. The qualifying was very good, with Leclerc taking pole position and Sainz number 2, and Verstappen only 3rd place. Ricciardo 4th, was a incredible weekend for him. He did very good. And in the race itself, it was an interesting fight at the front, a lot of interesting strategy options. This race, a race that was more acquired by the strategy instead of the speed of the cars. Now that ended up with another Verstappen win, Hamilton 2nd, and Leclerc 3rd. And yeah, some drivers had a very good weekend, some not, and today we'll be looking and ranking them from worst to best. My room is a little bit darker than usual. It's quite dark here. It's still daylight, but it doesn't look like it, but it is. But yeah, let's get into it. My Mexico GP drivers ranking. P20 and last is going to be Lance Stroll. He just had a bad weekend. Wasn't very close to his teammate in the qualifying, and in the race he had a very bad race. I think he was at fault for the Bottas Stroll incident at the end of the race, which caused him to DNF. I didn't see the onboard, but yeah, I still think it looked like more Stroll's fault than Bottas, even though Bottas got a penalty for that, which I don't agree with. So yeah. P19 is going to be the home hero, Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez just had a bad weekend. In this qualifying, he did quite good. He was in a 10th of Verstappen, but he was my loser of the race, just destroying his car in the first lap on the first turn, not giving Leclerc the space. I think it was on Perez only. Leclerc couldn't have done anything to prevent that, so that's why it's only P19. With Ricciardo doing this good this weekend, I don't see why they are keeping Perez, and it's the same thing I say every weekend, but it's something I'm very confused by. P18 is going to be Kevin Magnussen. Now Magnussen had just a quiet weekend. The qualifying was bad, but yeah, his race pace was very good, but then his left rear suspension gave out. I think in the video you could see something went wrong with his left rear, so that is why. But he wasn't quick enough anyway. So I didn't watch the qualifying, so I don't remember really any notable things happening in the qualifying. We were watching the Rugby World Cup because I'm a South African, so happy we won. So that's why I didn't watch the qualifying. P17 is going to be Yuki Tsunoda. Now again, with the qualifying, I didn't understand what happened there, but afterwards I found out he was starting at the back. But anyway, he wasn't as quick as Ricciardo the weekend. In the race, he was quite quick. He was very quick. I don't think he would have catched Ricciardo, even though Ricciardo had all the hards. But it would have been a massive points all for AlphaTauri if he didn't hit Piastri, and that was a poor judgment call. I think he was frustrated because in the previous lap, Piastri pushed him a little bit off the racing line. So, but anyway, that's Tsunoda's fault, and there was a big chance for points for him. Yeah. P16 is going to be Zhou Guanyu. Just actually very good qualifying, but not as good as his teammate. Was behind his teammates. And then in the race, he just dropped like a stone. I don't know why. And he just hadn't had a pace the whole race long. Sorry, my light is flickering. I don't know why it's doing that. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't good enough in my opinion to be better on this list. B14 is good. B15 is going to be George Russell. Russell was just off the pace from his teammates. In qualifying was P8, P7, P8 I think. think it was P8. Sorry, like I said, I didn't watch the qualifying. I can't remember as good. I did watch the highlights, but the highlights were very brief. And then in the race, he just didn't have the pace. Hamilton finishing P2 on the same strategy. Russell finishing P6. Just not as close as him at all. So yeah. Ricciardo catched him at the end. I think they freaking skipped the fight for watching Verstappen go over the line. I didn't get that. But anyway, it was an interesting race for Russell, but just not a good one. P14 is going to be Logan Sargent. I think this is the best he's ever been on my ranking list. I can remember with past races. But yeah, this is Sargent's. It was a very good weekend overall. He was my loser of qualifying, not getting a time on the board and finishing dead last. But in the race, he did very well. He was in my top 10 drivers, and I think he's starting to show that he's getting used to it. But I think it's a little bit too late. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Sargent, but in the races, he's much better in the qualifying. But his teammate is Albon, and Albon's been cooking in qualifying, so maybe we've been just too harsh, but we'll see. P13 is going to be Valtteri Bottas. Like I said when I talked about Zhao, very good qualifying, finishing P9, but in the race, he just dropped like a stone. I don't know what happened, and Bottas hadn't had a tangle with Stroll, but I still think it was more at Stroll's fault. But what can I say? It wasn't a good weekend overall. P12 is going to be Esteban Ocon. In the qualifying, he was out-qualified by Gasly. In the race, he was just in front of Gasly. Made a few positions, getting 1 point at least. I think Gasly had the pace on him, but Ocon had a very good stint on those hard sides from the beginning. Yeah, it was just good in keeping the pace on the mediums for the rest of the race. P11 is going to be Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso had a actually underrated qualifying, was far faster, well, much faster than his teammate in the qualifying. I think it was like almost 5 tenths. That's a lot. 4 tenths, I can't remember. But it was a lot. The second biggest margin between the teammates. And I think the race was his downfall. He wasn't good in the race, but I think that was more of the car, because Stroll had the parts swapped, and that looked much better than the car Alonso had. So I think it may be a car. That's why I wasn't totally forcing where he finished. I don't know what happened, why he retired. I don't know if it was Fernando Alonso being tired of the car, or the car had a problem. I haven't seen anything yet about why, but yeah, that's that. P10 is going to be a rough one. It's going to be Lando Norris. Lando Norris didn't have a good qualifying. It was my second to last driver for the qualifying. Not putting a time in because he made a mistake, and then the yellow flag happened, and that's on Norris, because that kind of things happen in Formula 1, but not putting a time on, that's his fault. And he had to be punished for that, but he was my driver for the race. That's why he's still in P10. A point scorer, sorry. But his race was very good. He was so quick. He was much faster than I think anybody except maybe Verstappen. But he was very, very good, and I'm very impressed with his performance lately. P9 is going to be Carlos Sainz. Just not as fast as his teammate, but still good enough. He was not much behind his teammate in qualifying, and in the race the same. He kept pace with Leclerc, but Leclerc was faster than him when Leclerc had a problem with his front wing. So that's why Sainz is so low on the list. But an excellent week for both of the Ferrari drivers. P8 is going to be Pierre Gasly. Like I said, out-qualified his teammate. And he had the pace in the beginning of the race. He was in the points, but his stint was longer than most people. So yeah, that happened, and then the problem came when he stopped, and he was when after he stopped, it was like P15. So yeah, that was problematic for Gasly, but he tried any best he could. But I don't think he wanted to overtake his teammate. So yeah, P7 is going to be Oscar Piastri. Piastri had a very good qualifying top 10 easily, and in the race he kept pace, but his teammate was much faster. But like I said, his teammate had a problem in qualifying. Oscar didn't. But Oscar is a very good driver. I think he showed why he was so good. And yeah, P7 isn't too bad for the Melbourne or Australian. P6 is going to be Albon. Yeah, just a decent qualifying. Made a mistake. The car is time deleted. But in the race, he was so fast. Finished ninth. And yeah, that's very good for Albon. Was in no man's land. So, very good race from Albon. He's really shown his medal this year. And I'm very impressed with his performance lately. P5 is going to be Nico Hulkenberg on his 20th to 100th Grand Prix. He was very good. So yeah, sorry. It was very good. The qualifying almost in the top 10. In the race, he was mostly in the top 10, but then the two Alpines had just better tire degradation, and he lost a place there. So not much he could have done, I think. But Hulkenberg trying his best with that horse, and well, it was nearly a good race for him. P4 is going to be Charles Leclerc. Very good qualifying, finishing on pole, and in the race just tried his best to keep pace. They tried the one stop with Leclerc and Sainz. Ferrari did, and I don't know if it would have worked. I would have liked to see the outcome without the red flag, but what can you do? So I'm quickly gonna pause. Sorry, I quickly had to run. But I'm back now. Leclerc had a very good race, like I said. Try to keep the pace, but on the hards with Hamilton in front of him on the mediums, I think he tried too much to keep the tires in a good spot instead of pushing to get Hamilton, because they thought Hamilton's tires are gonna die off, but surprisingly it didn't. So yeah, our first podium sitter is going to be Max Verstappen. Verstappen had another very great race, but there were some people better than him. And yeah, another win for the freaking Netherlands. Man, I'm just so tired. But anyway, when he wins, he has to be commended for that. That's just how the sport works. But it was a very good race from him. Controlled it at the front, like disappeared after the red flag restart, like in freaking fast, man. It was like 14 seconds. Mad. Anyway, qualifying, I think he tried his best. I think the Ferrari was just faster for some reason. But Verstappen, again, keeping it clean at turn 1. I don't think it would be clean, but then his teammate did something stupid. So yeah, and his restart was just as good. I was surprised by that, but very good race from Verstappen. Very impressed with this guy, but what a legend. P2 is going to be Lewis Hamilton. Now Lewis Hamilton had a very good race. Like I said, his qualifying was decent, but he out-qualified his teammate by a lot in the time margins, not place margins. So yeah, that's very good. In the race, he made up places and was quick. On those mediums, he was very quick. And yeah, I don't think the mediums would hold, but they surprised me. And you know what? If Hamilton can do it and the last lap get the fastest lap, you know what? That's very good. That's very, very good. And our winner for the Mexico GP rankings is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. This man was something else today. I don't know what. Well, yesterday. I don't know what happened with him. He chose violence. After qualifying Perez at his home race in an Alpha Tauri, he was my qualifying winner. And then racing freaking hell. Almost finished in the top 5. I'm so sad he didn't get Russell. P7 is still very good. But man, I don't know why Perez is still in the Red Bull seat. Daniel Ricciardo, just this race alone shows why you should be in that car. Second weekend back from breaking his wrists. This man's crazy. I'm surprised that he did so good. It was actually my bad drive for the weekend, so he showed me. But yeah, Ricciardo, what a man. I'm glad Danny Badger is back. And that's my Mexico GP rankings. Let's quickly go to the fantasy. If you want to skip that, go to our Mexican predictions. And let's quickly go through it. I wanted to change my F1 fantasy, but there was a bug and I couldn't change it, so I was quite sad because I wanted to change to Perez, even though it was his home race. He got me -10. Leclerc gave me 24. Science, my multiplier by 2 was 38. Albon 13. Norris 48, my most. Aston Martin -7 and McLaren 57. And my total was 163. I'm very happy. I'm kind of happy. I wish I could have changed the whole team, but I don't know why F4 Fantasy didn't want me to change it. My Mexico predictions didn't go good. It never goes good. My good drive was Gasly. Also, he did have a good drive, not a bad drive, a decent drive, but still a good drive. My bad drive was Ricciardo. Not even close. That man was a beast. Paul wasn't Verstappen. So yeah. My top 5 was Hamilton 5th. He finished 2nd. Norris 4th, but he finished 5th. Leclerc 3rd. He actually finished 3rd. 2nd was Verstappen. He finished 1st. And my first place man was Alonso, and he DNF'd. He wasn't even close to the winners today. And my wild prediction was Russell DNF. So that was wrong also. I only got 2 out of 9 correct. I don't think I've ever had more than 3 correct so far. But like I say always, hopefully next week is going to be better. And it's Brazil next week. My good drive is going to be Leclerc. My bad drive is going to be Stroll. My ball is going to be Hamilton. He loves Brazil. He's a citizen, I think, now. I don't know. My shootout, my sprint shootout winner is going to be Verstappen. My sprint race winner is going to be Verstappen. My top 5 is going to be 5th place Hamilton, 4th place Leclerc, 3rd place Sainz, 2nd place Verstappen, 1st place Perez. I just think maybe Perez is going to be good. I think there's a 99% chance that Perez is not going to win. But you know what? Why not try to keep it spicy, you know? My wild prediction is going to be Albon is going to be a very good driver this weekend. And that's the whole Mexico GP review. There was a great race. I think the Mexico GP has been the slumber last year and the year previous. But I think this year was quite better. If you like more of these videos, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all your viewership. I don't know. So yeah. Let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think would have been 1st and 2nd in your driver rankings, and let me know about your Brazil predictions. Have a great day, and please subscribe and like this video. Cheers.